So welcome to Bunny's Designs. This is a live stream with live pupils recorded for Ustream.tv and also for YouTube for people to watch at their leisure. I'm working in the Colin Thompson colouring book, and this is a page I started quite a long time ago, and I've decided to finish that. So I'll go back into this top corner. I'm working from my little book of watercolours. So these are paper palettes. These are Derwent watercolour pencils scratched on paper. Now to go in a book, it's quite good if you're going to wet it, for it to be sea white, extra strength, wet sketchbook paper. But you can scratch it on any paper. If you use watercolour paper, the colours will sink into the paper. So if you want to make little squares to keep, put them on sketchbook paper. So try to keep in focus, and I like this little book because I can just flip. I've got the whole 72 Derwent watercolour pencils scratched in quite big squares, and I just flip blues, greens, yellows, oranges, fairly simple pale colours for this particular page. So I can look at this number 28 dark blue here, and I want something about this shade, so I just want a touch, and because it's quite dark in there, it's going to do that for me. And it is a grayscale book, so you don't have to do too much to it to get some really nice effects. Now it is a little bit wetter than normal, but this page will take it, and I meant to go up there and I went down there, but it doesn't matter. It's dry now. So that's the advantage of using the number 1 Derwent watercolour brush. And I think I shall have sap green number 49. Start at the bottom because it would be darkest at the bottom, and work up. And you can have it just as pale as that if you want, or you can reverse that and go down so that there's a shadow at the bottom and a shadow at the top. And then if you really wanted another one, you have to work fairly dry. You can have a nice effect. And then, because I did use a bit of green on there, but I love the fact that there's hardly any waste because you're just using the tip of the brush. So I'm going to have Rose Madder, I think, next. Oh, it's a bit bright, is Rose Madder. I'm going to keep away from that. I think I'm going to have Geranium, and Geranium Lake was quite strong as well. They're all really quite strong, are the reds. Pale Vermilion number 13, that's just a pale colour, so that should look quite nice. Now if you want to do it vibrant colours, that's fine. If you want to do pale and vibrant, this is just me picking my colours, so you can be as bold or as pale as you want. And it's a really easy, quiet way to work this, and you can do this anywhere, waiting for the doctors. You can do it almost anywhere. At the hospital, because all you've got is a water brush, so there's nothing to spill, and you've also got all your colours scratched, so you've got a lot of colours and little weight. And then you've got the colour book. You might fancy a little terracotta colour, that one. Again, start at the bottom. It's going to give you that effect. Sorry about the lighting. And then if you start at the top, And if you mess up and you do it all one colour, it doesn't matter, it's a grey scale. I like the brick reds. I've got a terracotta colour, and sometimes I've kind of got a bit obsessed by this colour. So again, start in the bottom corner and tease the colour out where it's going to be paler, and to go back a bit more, but it's still fairly quick. So again, I like working this way. If your hands aren't particularly brilliant, you can do this because you've got very little pressure of this fat chunky water brush that kind of just wants to glide across the page. So if your hands are particularly bad on a certain day, you can colour all day like this. And sometimes this little particular page is one that you'd want to start and then kind of just carry on with. So I've got a raw sienna, and I kind of like the idea that these bricks are going to be a contrasting colour. And there's just a few bricks around the middle there. I'll have that post just a bit of colour that's left on the brush because I don't want to waste it. And then we need a sign, so we could have a peacock blue sign. You've got to be very careful with this one because again it's a bit strong. So I've just touched it at the end and got this gorgeous soft pale purple blue. So this is a watercolour pencil, so here it's going to be quite weak and here it's going to be very strong. So you look at what shade you want, what tone you want, and then you adjust it, and then that gives you a really nice different effect. And so I think this should be darker, and that would be darker, and they would be darker, and then there's just a little hint of purple across there because we do want it to be quite pale. So it is very, very pale. I'll just, without making anybody sick, I'll just see if I can move this down a little bit. Oopsie. Now this could either work extremely well, or it could work extremely bad. Oopsie. I was just thinking that might be a little bit better. Just seems to be. Read my scruffy writing. I think that's the best it's going to be. Can't quite work out the writing, but it's quite small. Is that? Oops, it's decided it wants to move. Oopsie. So I need to go to number so we've got a couple of greens, a couple of oranges. I think we might have, we wanted kind of a dullish colour probably. I'm going to go for chocolate, number 66. But I want to do this one behind here. And I've got a funny feeling that chocolate was the one that I was using. Now that's a rotring pen there, like my rotring pens, and we've got a package there. Might have to brighten up this section, so we've got sap green again, and I think we'll just have a big sap green down there. So again, this isn't a big brassy kind of way to work. It's very steady, very still, very quiet way to work. I'm going to use gold for this kind of trumpet. That was probably a bit too yellow, but I can maybe turn it down a bit. And then we've got Scarlet Lake. I think we'll have Scarlet Lake on here. And it looks quite strong until you kind of turn it down a bit. And then it's not so bad. And I think we can just put a hint of the colour. It's very pale now. And got Naples yellow, so that's quite a strong colour, but again managed to water it down a bit. And to go back to that peacock blue, I think it was, wasn't it, a lagoon? A little bit of that colour. That's a recorder, so it doesn't want to be, it wants to be brown. We used to have golden recorders before. I think we just have chestnut. I've made a mistake there, because that says Chinese white and it's not Chinese white. I think I've changed my mind last minute, and I wrote the number and didn't want Chinese white down there. So this is a case of just touching an odd colour and filling things in. Sorry, there could be a bark alert because Suzanne's not here to tell him off. Well, that's a pair of bagpipes, and I actually went in there originally to do that recorder that's up there, little flute. I may as well put the tiles in because I've got kind of a fawn colour and there's a bit of colour, so I can just go over the labels just to give them that, take that white off. So that one is finished, I think, just the bagpipes. So I think I'm going to pick a strong red for that one. Madakai mine I think is going to have a bit of tartany red in there. And that one's finished. That one's finished. It does look kind of blurred. So apologies, I don't know why it looks blurred, because it's kind of in. So the next one is, I think it's a radio. Is it a radio? I think it's a radio, so we need that brown again, that fawny brown. Burnt yellow ochre number 60. And I think we might do silver nails as well. So if you use a bit of colour and manoeuvre it about, you get different. It gets paler as that water manipulates the colour. So where you want it darker for shadow and then pale. So we'll have 49 sap green. Start at the bottom and just a hint of colour. As I say, that's my way of doing it. If you want it vibrant, if you want really vibrant colours, then by all means put vibrant colours in. It's a very quick way. Sometimes you've just got to be careful with this very strong colours, because you know that some of the, especially the reds, they are not very forgiving. So if you're going to have a red, start in the darkest shade first, shaded area cross hatching, and then kind of out a bit. You could do all your red pages first if you wanted, and then go to another colour, or you can do, just need a little bit more than that. Or you can flip, like I like to flip. Certain colours I like, some ones I don't, so I kind of move about a bit. Now this looks like a stacking system, so I think I might do all that in my greys. And there are some greys, I think, with the I've got silver grey, French grey, gunmetal, blue grey and a black. So there's quite a lot of colours in that set. And I'm going to do a silver grey. I think some of these, I mean, they're almost grey anyway. It's just putting little tiny touches to make them stand out. So again, leaving the little buttons. Now probably you'd be better with a rigger and a finer brush, but if you want to work fairly quick, this is quite a good way. And if you want a very white highlight, you need a Posca pen or a white gouache. You have a look. So you could go around this one. There doesn't seem to be much difference except when I use the darker one. So I think think I'm going to do this dark. Try to get out because there's a spider there, so I've just painted a spider. So the blue-grey is quite nice. Can't really do much in this particular one because it's a very much grayscale anyway. So just carefully go around, and we've got a bit of something going on there. And if we do the same blue-grey, then it'll look okay. So, and there. And we've got somebody actually living in there. Somebody's living in the stacking system. I've done that bottom one. I'm just going to do this one, I think. I'm going to do this one. So we'll have some bright yellow curtains. I've lost them. There they are. So they stand out a bit now, and got a bit of yellow on there, so we'll do that bit. And the microphone, go back to that pale blue-grey, which was doesn't take much to flip into the wrong ones. Number 68 blue-grey. I think this would look quite nice dark. So hopefully everybody's alright. I'm going to go back to this section and finish that off because I realised I've just poodled off there a little bit. Bottle green is quite nice, so I think we'll have a bottle green, and then again we just want a little bit of darkness under there. And this is the rotary ink that I use. So there's the rotary ink. And you can get different colours. You can get all sorts of different colours. You can get red, blue and brown and black and white to go in your rotary pens. Whoops, maybe it's a bit too dark. And a nice brown for this violin. I think it's a violin. And a little bit of copper beech for the handles and the bridge. That's a bit smoky. I've got a straw colour. And there's a rotary pen there, so they're actually a maroon. They're a dark red colour. Not quite a burnt carmine, but they are a darker red. So we'll just make that red. Just a touch of colour to warm those up. So is everybody alright? Hopefully chat's working. Thanks for joining me, guys. This it's a bit of a miserable day in the UK. It's always a bit of a miserable day in the UK. I have to say that. I might just decide to take off these stark white kind of little labels. I think they just need a little touch of something. And normally when there's little hands and little faces appearing up, I always put flesh on them to get rid of that stark white, unless I want the stark white. So some things I want stark white and some things I don't really. So I might just put a little bit of a pink one on there. And then again we've got that little yellow curtain. And that's the little section done. So go down to the next section, and we have another guitar. So this is obviously musical. I've got bronze here. I think I might use a different colour for this one. Just gonna get that going into there, and then come back the other way. Then that gives you the shadow the other way. So in the theory you'll get a nice effect in the middle. And I think we're going to use that blue-grey here. Kind of real contrasting colours. And then guitar handle. And that's done. I might just put a touch of blue on the other side, just to even it up a bit. So we've got a trumpet. I might do trumpet silver grey, I think. Although they're normally brass. Just warm it up a touch. luckily get away with that because the book behind is so dark it will let me do that. So we want sap green again, kind of a real dark green book. So it's quite an easy book to colour because all the hard work's kind of been done for you. And there's a pen there which wants to be that colour, and that's, can't decide what that is really, but here you go. Everything just wants a little tiny bit of colour, and what that does, gets rid of that stark white. I did leave a bit of stark white on a white butterfly once, and then there was a piece of paper like a card flip, and I left that white as well. And I remember having a blue biro, but that probably could be another rotring pen. And a bottle of blue ink. One of my favourite colours to write in is turquoise. For some reason I just love writing in turquoise. So there seems to be some quite dull colours on there, so I'm going to do and they all seem to be blue. And sometimes you realise that you've looked at certain things and thought, oh, there's a lot of blue on there. So I'm going to put I think that's too bright, so let's find something that's bright red. I'll go over Santa's sack, and then that will tone that colour down for me, otherwise it would have been too strong. Now of course you do not have to, oops, that's not a very nice colour, is it? For behind there, but I've done it now, so it's done. I might be able to warm it up in a bit. A bit of Scarlet Lake on there. It's warmed it up a touch. So we've got the bottom of this bit to do. Yes, I've remembered, Kingo. yes, I am recording. I have remembered. I've remembered to record. So thank you for reminding me. This is recorded for Ustream. It is a live stream recorded for Ustream.tv, but it is recorded for YouTube for people to watch at their leisure. So if you've got any comments, anything you'd like to see, any requests, pop them in the comments below. Let's see if we can just kind of brighten these up a bit. Oh, I seem to always want to put yellow where yellow is. That's a bit silly. That's a big brass drum, I think. And we can have a deep chrome. Coloured book. it's more difficult than it seems picking colours so they go next to each other without making it look like that's what you've done. So, and again we've got another one of those rotary pens. And I'm just going to put some more blue grey on that one because I do like this blue grey. It's a good colour. Oops, I've got indigo. Oh, I haven't used indigo yet either. So, oops, nope, that's on ink 10s. I have mine next to each other, so it's easy for me to flip to the wrong one. But I think it'd be quite good to do this in ink 10s as well, in 10s pencils. So that's why I want to buy the book again, so that I can choose more vibrant colours. But this particular book, I'm quite enjoying doing lighter colours. And as a speaker, so what's going to be, and then that's going to be dark, I think. Just seen a monkey look at me. It's a bit scary. Just a little bit of colour to knock those back from being stark white, and then a little bit of grey in there to darken that down. So again, a little bit of bubble there because I did it twice, so you've got to be a little bit careful. So here there is a cheeky monkey peeping, so we need a chimp colour. He might be a smoke grey colour. So dark where it's dark, and then it'll be paler now. So we've got a bird stand, we've got a walrusy thing in the corner, and I just go around picking bits off, just trying to put a pale colour next to a different colour. Sometimes it works and sometimes I end up with 2 or 3 colours looking the same. I do tend to use the same colours. I think it's because they're the same hue, so they're not too strong, because it's just nicer to have pastel shades rather than in your face colours. For this particular page, when I'm in a bold, bright colour mode, then I want to do bright colours. So I'm just flipping through my little book and deciding on certain colours. I've had Geranium Lake before, but it's quite strong. So I might just do this one, laying down. With the lizard. And, oops, tiny bit. Green lizard, an emerald green lizard. Just need that to a point. have some green left, so we get rid of that. And again, I think we can have a big bright green bird. I think we'll have a green bird, a green parrot. And we could just have a touch of sky in the background, maybe. It's a bit bright, is that one, but we can tone it down a little bit. And I think this one might be quite bright, but again you can tone it down and have the palest colour. Now you can't do this if you're working with a pencil, but if you're working from a paper palette you can get some really nice tones on there. I think I'll have a sap green. And then when you're doing this, you find pens, you find creatures, you find all sorts of things. And again, that's a 0.30 rotring pen. That we've found a perch to just give a bit of definition. Oh, that's rotring ink as well, so he can just have kind of a browny face. I'm just going to go very carefully over these because they're pale. Just bear with me 2 seconds. Right, so bear with me 2 seconds. So where are we going now? Oops. Just going to put a little bit of that over there because it gets rid of that stark white. Then we can have shadow under there because we don't really know what that is, but we can make that up. This mechanical thing wants to be gunmetal, so that's quite a nice colour. I think that's a pot of glue at the back. So kind of want I've got green, so we need a bit of yellow, I think. That will go cream, so that will just about do. We can have Scarlet Lake. It's always good for a and another brown snake. And then this can be blue. And that's all you do, is just pick a colour, and then think, well, do I want two blues there? Yes I do, no I don't, or go for a different colour. There's enough colours to go around. So I've got two more books, so I think we can have a kind of a deepy purple colour there. I think that would be good. When I say deep purple, I'm not working full strength. So I sketch like these on days that I don't feel particularly good about sketching in other ways. So sometimes you just want the tiniest bit of colour, just to take off any stark white on these labels, because if they're old books they're going to be tatty. So I'm doing quite well. I've got two more sections which probably will take me to the right time, so I'll do two more sections. This has got a tree on it actually, it's got quite a lot going on. And it stayed nice and flat, so I'm going to get the tree out of the way first, and I'm going to use chocolate, and I think I'm using chocolate on the shelves. So it's going to kind of, just bear with me 2 seconds and I'll move the camera. It needs to kind of morph into the background, so that's what I need that to do. It's going to morph into there. This could be really dark in here. The little puppy with a, I don't know what she is doing. And then if you go in a darker piece, you can actually pick up a little bit of colour. So you can go in straight away, you can go in. This might be a bit darker, because I want those little signs to be a bit kind of stronger, to stand out a bit. So where it would naturally be dark, take it dark and then make it go lighter again. So that's all I do if it's a longer space. Longer spaces are fine, it's just big spaces and water do not mix very well. And sometimes with really tiny spaces, it's a good idea to use a tiny brush at a later date, rather than try to rush it, because you make a boo-boo. And I've used the wrong colour. I thought that was chocolate, but it doesn't look chocolate. But never mind, I've done it chocolate now. And because it's a watercolour, it will manoeuvre around a bit, so I can play with that a bit later. So now we want a little bit of bit of colour. There's a kind of a pinky purple down there, so I think probably green would have been better, but never mind. Just see if I can move the camera a bit better. Hopefully that should be slightly better. Whoopsie, sorry. So I just pan out a bit now and see what's what, because otherwise it gets a very long video, it gets really boring. So let's just have a look at that a minute. So you can see it gets fairly quick results. So it's taken about an hour to do half a page, so that's not too bad, and I quite like the colours. They're not exactly the same ones because I'm colouring a few months later, but I still quite like working. I work with my little colour books, just flipping between I've got the yellows and oranges, pinks, reds, purples and blues. Then I have my stranger colours and my dirt water brush. Thank you for watching.